Okay, y'all, it is time for an update for my software, Magnetify. I know it's been a minute, but there have been a lot of changes in this last week alone, and I wanted to update you guys. So as you can tell from the title of this video, I have had to look for another developer because this one had to quit mid-project. So what that means is, number one, things are delayed. Number two, things that were started can't necessarily be picked back up by somebody else. I'm basically going to have to start all over again with someone else. And this last week has been absolutely nerve-wracking for me because I kind of had a feeling a couple of weeks ago that something was going on with my developer that I had because the communication just wasn't there. It was like I would ask a question, I wouldn't get a response back for 3 or 4 days, and the work that should have been done up until that timeline was not done. So basically, we only got as far as actually putting the landing page design on Bubble. And as you know, with an app, there is more than just the landing page. So that's as far as we got. And what I actually found out after digging a little bit deeper and pressing him was that he actually had a family emergency, which was nothing in his control whatsoever. And he wanted to continue working. He said he was sorry for the delays, but I told him that it wasn't just about me. He needed to take care of his family. So we mutually split ways. And so it was left up to me to actually try to find somebody else to pick up where he left off, okay? So this past week has been absolutely crazy with me actually posting another job and interviewing developers for this project. And I've interviewed so many people. So I'm here in the US, as you can imagine, and I've talked to people from all over the world. So there's a time change and a time difference there. Some people I spoke to were a whole day ahead of me. Some were, 12 hours. It was crazy because I was getting up super early, like 5 a.m. calls with people. I was staying up super late to have late calls with people who were, halfway around the world. And it got tiring trying to express what I wanted so many different times. Since I've done this, the first time around, expressing what I wanted, expressing my vision for Magnetify, and finding somebody who would actually understand what I wanted. In addition to finding somebody who was not trying to take advantage of me and charged me $15,000 for this MVP. And I will tell you that is a number I actually heard. I also heard that it would take 1,800 hours to get this done. That was another example. So I've been through a lot, and I cannot tell you the number of people that I interviewed. I actually did not count. But it was a lot until I finally found the perfect person that is going to help me bring Magnetify to life. So there have been a couple changes, obviously, as far as the timeline is concerned of when my MVP will be done, but also the fact that this is no longer going to be built on Bubble. So it's no longer going to be no code. It is actually going to be full code. And the reason being is that I wanted to have that flexibility if it were to grow, that it could be developed and it could grow on that platform. I was told that on Bubble, you can take that code or no code, whatever you're doing on the back end, you can't take that anywhere else. It has to stay on the platform. So with having things fully coded, you can have that code and you can take it anywhere and you can change things up and add things, delete things, whatever. So that's the big change right there is, number one, time is going to be a little bit different for the MVP. So we're now looking at a beta launch date at the end of January 2025. The exact date is probably going to be around January 25th, that last week of the first month of next year, right? So that timeline's changed, and I'm okay with that considering the fact that right now there's a lot going on. We just had the elections here in the US. We're going to have Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year. So, we're going to go ahead and launch in the new year, the first of the month, the first of the year in January at the end of the month. And I'm excited about actually having a solid MVP in place. Number two, working with this person compared to the last person I was working with. So like I said, we had some issues with communication, the last couple weeks that we were working together. Unfortunately, like I said, he had a family emergency, but this developer here that I found has actually been really great. We've only been working together for maybe a couple days at this time since I recorded the video, but I've had more communication with him than I had with my previous developer, which is probably not the best looking back, but everything's great. So if you saw my last video where I was talking about like how to launch a micro SaaS, and we're gonna do this in 5 different steps. So I'm gonna have to go back and make a couple adjustments because this developer has actually stepped up and done a lot of the work that I mentioned in that video and a lot of the stuff that's coming in the coming steps. And so, like I said, we have a timeline. He has given me an exact timeline. I gave you the date of January 25th for the actual MVP, but you guys, I have like a deliverables calendar here. So we're dividing this up in stages. So for us, it's going to be about 3 different phases or stages that things are going to get done. And obviously right now we're in the first phase. As for him, what he is doing right now, he is working on research. So I did speak about that in my video. Research as the founder of someone who is going to start a micro SaaS, you've got to do research on as far as, who would be your ideal users, what they're looking for with a particular software, everything else like that. But actually, he is doing this himself as well. So I've done my research, but he's going to be doing even more research simply because when he is putting together my UX, so when he's putting together the interface and everything else, the design of the actual software, he wants to make sure that he is talking to people who are familiar with these types of apps and asking them what they would like to see. So something that I didn't even think of since I'm not a developer. So how they would like the layout, what color palettes work well, what catches their eye, things of that nature. So this is completely new to me, considering the fact that when I was interviewing developers this past week, a lot of them put a lot on me as someone who does not know a lot about, I don't know much of anything about creating a software, you guys. Like I said, my background is in nursing. So I know very, very little. So when you're putting it on me to declare the scope and the deliverables and everything else, there's only so much that I do know. Like this person specifically, he's telling me things that we have to have on the back end. And so like what he is telling me like right now is like he's going to be developing, after he does the research, he's going to be developing the site map of the actual software. And like I said, I had the landing page kind of designed and everything else like that. I did that on Canva very, very, very simplistically, right? But he's going to design all this on Figma. And what he's doing that I could not do is he's figuring out the entire sitemap, like what happens after you click on this and you go into the actual app and the dashboard to create your lead magnets. I couldn't visualize that. Like I said, could not visualize that because I'm not a software tech developer type person. So that was missing from my design. And so a lot of these people that I interviewed in this past week were asking me like, well, I need the full design. I need to know what it's going to look like on the back end. I need to, stuff that I could not answer. So apparently they either did not do design, they didn't do the Figma design, and they just did the no coding on Bubble, or maybe they just didn't know. I was really attracted to this developer simply because he answered a lot of my questions and then he gave me a lot of information that I was not aware of, right? So some of these people who were asking for the scope, for, the deliverables, for all of this, it was absolutely ridiculous. I went back and forth with one guy for almost a week, giving him more and more information of stuff that I thought he probably should have figured out himself. And it could have been maybe it was a language barrier, or it could have been that he was just very thorough and trying to give me the actual scope. But he was the guy that told me it was going to take like 1,800 hours. And he could not like give me a actual estimate. So it's really odd. So anyways, so I'm looking at the notes that he's already sent over. And like I said, so he's doing the research, he's doing the sitemap. We're going to figure out the color palette. Like I have some of it together. Like I've already got the Magnetify logo, but the entire color palette for the interface of the software, he's figuring that all out too. So that's all in milestone number 1. So this is going to be a little bit different as you, who is actually the founder of a micro SaaS, of what you need to be doing with your phase 1. And like I said, I'll make a couple changes on my, launching a micro SaaS with, my 5 different phases there. But this developer has taken on a whole lot, and I think it's amazing. And it's not like I'm trying to just sit back here and not do anything, but I think it's amazing considering the fact that, like I said earlier, you don't know what you don't know. And so it was a breath of fresh air to be able to talk to him and, get all my questions answered, have everything explained to me, and, giving me a timeline. He has already set out, like I said, the deliverables, the dates, and all that. So be prepared for January 2025. That's when Magnetify is going to launch. If you have not signed up for the wait list, go ahead and do so now. I'm dropping a link down below the video, and you can go ahead and sign up. So that way you can stay updated when everything does launch, okay? Because I plan on giving my early users special stuff just to be the beta testers for the software, okay? So in the meantime, I'm going to update you guys because now I have a calendar, so I'll be giving you regular updates and milestones, and we'll continue on with the launching your own micro SaaS. But like I said, I'm going to change a couple things on it, but we'll continue on with that as we go, because right now that I have a date, I can really start with preparing for the whole marketing aspect of it, and I can walk you guys through in real time what I'm doing as far as trying to market, get people on the wait list, get people excited about the software coming out in January. So I just wanted to give you guys this update. You guys have a wonderful day. If you have any questions about anything, make sure to drop them down in the comments below. And like I said, go ahead and sign up for the wait list if you are interested in hopping in as a Magnetify beta tester. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.